Good morning, Singapore, and good morning to Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Morning,
Your
Jerry.
voice always puts a smile on my face.
Oh,
Morning,
wow.
everyone.
Good morning,
And
Dr.
Effie's
Jerry.
back.
Yes, finally back. My goodness.
He's back and sounding different. Oh, and with his bell again.
Yeah, well, then, I'm just used to hitting the bell every once in a while.
If you don't know the story of the bell, Dr. Jerry, when FD was in isolation in Melbourne, he had a bell to let everyone know he needed something. So, see?
There you go.
And so he's so used to it, he's still using it to try and get us to get stuff for him.
Yeah, they won't get me coffee.
We
they
haven't
won't
fallen for it yet.
Yeah.
What else you want?
Yeah, what do you want now?
Coffee, breakfast, anything.
Prata.
Yeah.
Can you wait now? Can you wait till after the show and then we'll go for breakfast?
It's actually still working now, you know?
I'll try.
All right, Dr. Jerry, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about anxiety and panic attacks.
Are they the same thing? An anxiety attack and a panic attack. Are they the same?
Anxiety attack and panic attacks are not the same thing. So
Oh,
a lot of people have anxiety attacks, but they think they're having a panic attack because the word gets thrown around so much. And it's far more exciting to have a panic attack than to have an anxiety attack.
Far more exciting.
Well, I don't know. I
don't know if
thought
exciting is the word.
I had a panic attack in Australia when I couldn't get back home. And yeah, exciting's not the way I'd describe it.
So what's the difference between the two then?
It is not exciting at all. So someone with a panic attack can get it very randomly. It can hit them really intensely. So it's that out of control feeling. So some people even feel as if they're going to die because they cannot catch their breath. The breathlessness, the tightness in the chest. You have had people keeling over when driving, having a panic attack because it can hit anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't choose where to hit, when and where to hit you.
And it feels like a heart attack. I mean, based on...
It feels like a heart attack. There's the dizziness, there's the nausea, that heart palpitation,
Wow.
the
This
is
constriction, the
panic.
shortness of breath.
So you said it can hit anytime, anywhere. So there are no triggers for this?
It might not. Sometimes we trace it and it might not have any triggers
Oh,
at
wow.
all. Yeah, but sometimes there's they know or they expect it because it runs in the family. So there's something called panic disorders where they are plagued by panic attacks where they don't know when it's gonna hit them, how it's gonna hit them.
Oh, wow. I had no
grief,
idea.
that's-
I think a trigger for a panic attack will be thinking that you're going to get a panic attack.
You reckon?
It's the
Yeah.
same thing for blood pressure as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But if you anticipate something or you worry excessively about something and there is a cause, a trigger, then and you start having that hyperventilation, you can't breathe and you feel in distress, then that's probably an anxiety attack because you have a cause or you know that trigger.
So there's a
Okay.
trigger for that one. Okay.
Okay, because what I went through when I got COVID and I had to start changing flights and I had to get everything, what I felt was the world sort of collapsing in on you. I had no control of my environment. I had no control of outcomes. I had no control of anything. I was starting to snap at people. I became irritable. It was basically, leave me alone. There's nothing you can do to help me. I don't think I'm ever going to get back to Singapore. What about the show? How am I going to do this? How do I tell the team? Everything just came crashing in.
You are KCS.
A what?
A kanchong spider at that point.
Well, I didn't feel like any spider, I'll tell you.
So would that be an anxiety attack that FD experienced, Dr. Jerry?
It's probably an anxiety attack.
Right,
and he was
right.
very, very anxious at that
Yeah,
point in
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Good thing. Oh dear. I'm so
Oh, it
glad
was-
you're back in
yeah.
Singapore.
I tell you, I when I got on the plane to leave Melbourne to Singapore, From Melbourne to Singapore, all I did was drink. I celebrated that I was on the plane. That's all I did.
No
I
wonder
drank
you needed a coffee at
Yeah,
7 p.m.
yeah.
when
And
you
what
landed.
did you drink?
Gin and
a
tonic.
lot of Chardonnay. A lot of Chardonnay.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of Chardonnay, yeah.
Okay.
A drunk
man.
FD stepping off the plane.
Let's continue to talk about alcohol on the Big Show TV with Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Harry, you've been comparing panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and the one common sort of word or phrase that I found was out of control between the two. Is like what FD felt the anxiety attack, the out of control feeling was because he couldn't control anything around in his environment, but for like panic attacks is that you feel out of control.
Yep. So for FD or for anxiety, they feel that sense of helplessness. But when you have a panic attack, it's so gripping. You know, it's you completely have no control whatsoever.
So you're saying with an anxiety attack, there's a possibility that you can still control the situation?
Usually, we will help them to decrease the intensity of it. But when a panic attack hits, sometimes it hits so randomly, you might not be able to do anything about it until it passes.
Wow.
Is there medication to control a panic attack?
There are, so the psychiatrist would be there to help you with toggling on the medication, to help you to decrease some of the anxiety or the feelings of anxiety. But generally, they would encourage you to have a lifestyle change.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Lifestyle change like what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it could be a lot of factors, right? Because they don't know or they cannot pinpoint what it might be. So it could be that lifestyle that is very stressful. It could be that whole intense period for a prolonged period of time that might be causing it. So many different situation causes anxiety or panic.
I have to say, I
the
experienced anxiety, maybe not an anxiety attack, but at the start of COVID, right? A few months into that, I think I did experience
Anxiousness.
Anxiousness.
I think
you're right.
a lot of people did because a lot of people had no idea when the end was, and they had no control over everything that was happening.
Yeah.
So which brings me to the point of today being the reopening.
Yes.
You know, and FD, you did a story earlier about some people not wanting to go back to
Yeah,
work and
yeah.
stuff like that. Will people be experiencing anxiousness and anxiety about socializing again?
Exactly. So that's why we are talking about anxiety today. So today is supposed to be DOSCON Yellow, and we're supposed to enjoy it. It's supposed to be celebration. And I know a lot of Muslim friends who are really, really happy about it.
Because for the past 2 years, they haven't been able to celebrate Hari Raya in a big way, and now they can.
And now it's unlimited, right?
Yes.
The numbers. It's awesome, yeah.
So excited for them.
I'm so excited for them. I'm going for iftar with my team with one of the families also. So this Friday, so very, very excited.
If we have any Muslim listeners, you want to send any food over, please do.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Not yet. Next week.
This year can celebrate big.
Yes. But there's so many people who are actually worried about the DOSCON Yellow. No trays together, no mask, no limit to size, and you know the no trays together. We are like, yay, no trays together, but there is a huge group of people who go, oh dear, I've got no more work.
They are the
What do I
KCSs.
do?
Yeah. Oh, the ones that were handling all the points,
Points,
and the SDA individuals as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the social distancing ambassadors, the trace together, friendly people that go, show me your app. So all these people are panicking because they do not have, and maybe not panic. It's anxious. What do I do as we go along?
You know,
As in they fear they.
No jobs.
Oh, I
Because
see.
they're out of
Yeah.
jobs now, right?
They don't have to be there anymore.
And they were getting paid quite well,
Yeah.
actually.
They were getting paid, yeah.
doing
they
that.
fear no jobs. Those that were working from home fear the fact that, oh, I've got to go back into the office. I've got to restart that whole socializing again. How do I do it? Because I haven't done it
Yes.
for 2 years. You
Yes.
know, it's
Yeah.
it's
Causes a
very
whole lot of
worrying.
problems, it
It's
does,
very
yeah.
No,
worrying.
but if anything, I mean, they should be more adaptable now than ever before. I mean, before COVID struck, they were doing something.
Yeah.
They have to go back and do that now. Just like before COVID, many people were working, in the offices. After that, during COVID, they were working from home. Now, things are back to normal. They have to go back to the office.
But even
Right.
They have to, but as one of the ladies described, and it was very interesting because she went back and she was like, "Oh, it was terrible the first day," and I was like, "But you've been in that company for such a long time." And this is how she explained it, right? She says, yes, I've been there for such a long time, but for 2 years, we were not there. And within that 2 years, many changes had to occur. We had to clear out our desks. We have to take back, because the pantry, we cannot leave it unmanned and unclean. So we have to clear out everything. The company, and this is something that some companies have taken to, they have stopped giving everybody their own cubicle and have gone with hot desking.
which
Yeah.
my
You don't
company did, yeah.
own space.
Yeah.
Right? So when you go back, when she went back, she felt really lost. She was like, okay, I need to get reacquainted with the space. I need to figure out where the toilet is all over again. How far is it from my desk? Because I know what my toilet at home, but I've forgotten about my toilet in the office. The pantry appears very alien now, because it's not a warm place anymore. It takes some time for the people vibe to come back in, right? So she felt so lost on the first day. It was more stressful than doing her work.
I think another thing that people are, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jerry, another thing people are going to have a worry with is you're going into the office and no one is wearing masks anymore. Social distancing is not practiced anymore. That in itself is going to be a major worry. How close do I get to someone? How do I deal with these people now that I'm not masked up?
Yeah, and I don't mean to make this sound sort of simplified, but it's just a matter of adapting, right? I mean, it sounds like a first day back at, or even a first day of school for a 4-year-old. They go into a classroom, they don't know anybody, they're not sure where the toilets are, they want to go to the bathroom, but they don't dare ask the teacher. So, I mean, we're adults. Is that sort of being overreacting to the situation? You think?
Sounds like it, man.
You want to bring this up on air?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's
I
bring
think
this up
so,
on air.
yeah.
Sounds like many people are
Being a bit dramatic,
too
right?
kiasi, you know what I mean?
That sounds.
Kiasi, kanchong spiders,
At least stand by one.
Bring out the baygon.
So, Dr. Jerry, earlier on the Big Show TV, you were speaking about someone that you had spoken to and her sort of anxiousness about going back to the office. Can you just recap what you said?
Yeah, so she was going back, and it was like going into like the first job. The whole space was different. The desk was no longer there. The whole format was hot desking. She had to get reacquainted with the space. She had to get reacquainted even with like basic needs, toilet, pantry. So this was making her a little bit uncomfortable the first day, but she felt quite stressed actually. Yeah.
What do you tell someone who is feeling exactly what you just described today as they go back to the office? What do you tell them?
To talk about it, to share it. It's really, I love what Angel said earlier about like a 4-year-old going to school, the first day back at school, the primary school kid that goes in on the first day. We make such a big deal out of it. Going back for the first time after 2 years is a big deal. It's like getting your first job all over again.
exciting,
and
right?
It's-
It should be exciting.
I hate to
Exciting, that's the
downplay
word.
it, but is it not a little bit over dramatic? I mean, we're adults that can adapt. So I mean, you're not going into a new job. You're going into a familiar space. Everything that's changed is like within the office. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can
Yes.
understand if you're going into a new job and you're not sure who people are and stuff like that, where everything is. But if you're going back to something that's familiar, isn't it just about adapting?
It is about adapting, and they need time to adapt. So, permitting themselves to have time to adapt to the new space, because they think they need to jump right into the deep pool and start swimming. That's not true. You need to dip your toes, get, acclimatized to the temperature of the water, and then you can start swimming.
Yeah, and I think different people are in different situations as well. COVID might have affected them and their families in
Yeah, for sure.
in different ways.
Yeah.
So I think everyone is going through a different situation.
Yeah, for
in
sure,
that
for
sense.
sure. Yeah, that's why I said I don't want to downplay anybody's
Yeah.
feelings or anything. But
gotta
do you
take
think it's a
everyone
good
into
idea that
consideration.
everyone should go back to the office, or employers should allow people to also do the hybrid work from home and in the office?
Thingy.
I think all types of work require different sort of, whether it's face to face or whether it's remote working. So it's organization dependent. It's also personality dependent. So you have the extroverts who go, yay, I can go back to the office. I'm very, very excited. You have the introverts who go, I have to go back now. I don't want to. I want to continue to work from home. I just want to take all my calls online. So they are really, split in terms of whether to go back or to not go back. But now we know that there are choices out there, the types of work that we choose, the organization that we choose, and also that organizations learn that they can negotiate if it is permissible, that they can be flexible.
Right. It's going to be a major test for management, actually.
Yeah,
Because it's going to be very hard, very challenging for management
it is.
right now to,
yeah.
to manage their
Employees.
their staff.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So many issues. So who deals with people within the organization who may need to talk
HR.
to someone? Is it HR?
HR. It would be
Oh,
HR.
wow.
Good luck.
So, good luck to all HR people.
So HR people really need to be people's people, don't they?
I think HR people need to go see Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Oh,
I
I
think.
must say that many of the organization, really, really proud of them, are either, getting some of my colleagues, myself, to come in and work with them. So they are putting a lot of emphasis on mental health these
Oh,
days
that's
in
great.
the
Good stuff.
organization.
Well done.
So yeah, really happy of this change in climate for the organizations.
Okay, let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV. In the meantime, here's Anne Marie with 2002 on 1FM.
Talked a lot about people going back to work, and that's going to be the big
Yes.
issue today.
Yes.
Esty Lim on our Facebook page has said, I've seen my daughter have a panic attack. It is scary, so helpless. I don't know what to do to help her. It's so painful. What do you do when someone around you has an attack like
Yeah, it
this?
sounds so scary.
It sounds terrible.
Okay. So when someone is having a panic attack, they would not. Okay, how they respond to you can differ, but usually they don't want to respond to you at all, because remember that they are trying to deal with whatever sensation that is going through their body. The person on the side can remind them that they are safe, because in their mind, everything is out of control. I am going to die. So the person on the side reminds them you are safe. It is okay, and that it will pass.
Do you hold them? Do you try and hug them?
Yeah.
Do you put your hand on their shoulder? I mean, do you to sort of reassure them? What do you do?
For some people, the touch is reassuring. For many of them, because they are in such a state, you cannot touch them. So, because many of the symptoms overlap, remember FD described that he was irritable.
Yeah.
Many of them are like that. If you touch them, more likely than not, they would fight back because they are in crisis mode. They are threatened. They are in danger. They're trying to survive.
Yeah.
And this is the most serious one, right? We're talking
The
about
panic,
panic attack and
Yeah.
anxiety attack. The
Yes.
panic attack is the one you were
serious
saying.
one.
The person can't breathe properly and all. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anxiety attack also, they have the breathlessness. Your panic attack is more intense.
So if you've never sort of encountered either one of somebody else having it or even yourself having it, how can you tell the difference between panic and anxiety?
Well, treat them as serious as you can. So, yeah, it doesn't matter whether it is anxiety or panic. With the first time you experience it, it is scary. It is something that you don't want to experience, and you feel as if your whole world is closing in. So what you want to do is so three things that you can do. Okay, so the first thing is you sit down. If you are pacing up and down, if you are standing up very activated, your anxiety just keeps going and going and going because your brain goes non-stop. Right?
Okay.
If it's available to you, just sit down and then breathe. And how I would then teach you is to breathe with your hand. Okay, so a lot of time we say breathe in 4 counts, hold 2 counts, breathe out 4 counts. Easier if you use your hand. So you can remember the word stop. Your hand is just here with you. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out and take a normal breath. Then you start. Breathe in slowly again.
So you
When
breathe
you-
in slowly is
5
the
times.
4 counts, is it? Or you breathe... Right,
You
okay.
breathe in 4 counts, and as you slide down your hand,
Breathe out.
you breathe out. You can take a normal breath, and then you go again, slowly.
Wow. It's very interesting, Jerry, because when I was there, one of the first things, when I started to get these anxiety attacks, one of the first things that was said to me was, just relax, calm down, we'll find a way out of this. And my response to that was, don't tell me to calm down.
Yeah.
You have no
Yeah.
idea what I'm going through.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a common response, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So the word calm down, the word relax are extremely triggering during
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I didn't say the word calm down. I
Yeah.
said sit.
Yeah.
I say stop. I say breathe.
Breathe.
And the next thing you do is when you start any action, you do it slowly. So you slow down your action. A lot of people, after they do that, feel better. Yes, pam, they stand up and they start walking really, really fast.
Okay.
That's going to excite the whole system again. And you're going to, undo whatever that you have already, all the good work that you've done.
So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to slow your heart rate down because your heart rate obviously escalates, right, during a situation like this.
Your heart rate escalates, your whole system is just
Sped
in
up.
fight mode. So what you want to do is to get it out of fight mode and to let your brain know that you're not under threat, you're not under attack.
Right. So if you're in that situation where you're experiencing either a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and you have with you a shot of whiskey, let's say. Okay. So you've got a shot of whiskey, you've got 2 Panadol extras, and you have a Xanax pill.
Oh,
Which one would be best to consume at that point?
Neither.
Really?
You, yes.
I
So-
did the whiskey shot. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Okay.
So I'm glad that Glenn brought it up. So
Panadol
one of
extra? Because it's
One of the big no-nos is that because when your body is tense, whether it is panic or whether it's anxiety, your body is so tense. The last thing you want to do is try to shove something down your system because you're already breathless, right? So don't try to offer someone a drink, whether
Okay.
it is whiskey or water. Many people want to be helpful and say, come, drink some water. It's
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
The person will scream at you and say, I can't breathe.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Okay, we're going to go back on the radio again. I'm not going to ask you this question. We'll move on.
We'll talk about the
Yeah.
sit down, stop, and breathing.
Yeah, we'll talk about Panel Extra and the Xanax later when we are on Big Show TV again. Okay.
So today we're talking about anxiety and panic attacks. And earlier on the Big Show TV, you were talking about how whether we're in the situation or see someone in a situation, how there are certain things that can be done if we see someone sort of going through a panic or anxiety attack.
Yep. So we have two things that we can do. One is we sit them down or we sit down ourselves. Okay, and then we breathe. So we breathe, and I used my hand to help. 4 counts in slowly, breathe out, and then
Again.
normal breath, and then you repeat. And you can repeat up to 3 to 5 times, not too many times, because if not, you get dizzy from too much oxygen also, right?
So the paper bag also works, right?
I was about to ask.
Paper
what
bag.
Paper bag.
this over your
If
mouth?
we
is it?
don't have, okay, so we had situation where, yes, a lot of people say the paper bag works, but if you're outside and it hits you suddenly, there's no way to run into a shop to get a paper bag, right? So you have your hand with you.
But how does the paper bag work?
No, you don't know how the paper bag works.
I know you put it over your mouth.
Yeah.
And you breathe in.
You
and
don't
breathe
get a big paper bag, lah. It's got to be a small paper
yes,
bag.
But how does that work?
Yeah, because when you breathe into the paper bag, right, it will inflate, right?
Yes.
Up to a point, it cannot inflate anymore. So it controls your breathing in that sense. You get it?
Oh.
Yes. So you don't overdo it.
Is-
You want to control your breathing.
Jerry's laughing. I
I'm
don't
not,
know
I'm not
how-
even sure if that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you breathe in carbon dioxide?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's common sense. No,
I don't know. I'm asking Jerry.
Do you know this for a fact, or you're just coming out of
I
thin
saw
air?
it on an episode of Starsky and Hutch.
Okay. Jerry, what is the paper bag about?
So it's supposed to reintroduce like carbon dioxide into your system, because when you hyperventilate, you take in too much
oxygen.
Then you have your tingly fingers and toes, all your extremities cramp up, and it gets tingly. So you're supposed to breathe in, yes, in part to control the breathing, but also that you don't get too much oxygen back into your system.
So Glenn wasn't
Yeah.
totally wrong.
I wasn't totally
No,
wrong.
no,
Not
totally.
totally wrong.
Wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Well
pays
done, bro.
attention to his shows.
So everyone, make sure you carry a
Paper bag.
medium-sized Ziploc.
I was about to say,
No,
does a
Ziploc.
Ziploc
Oh,
work?
a small Ziploc. You think it'll
Does
be a
plastic
small
work?
Ziploc or a medium Ziploc, huh? Jerry,
I
what do you
think
think?
neither. Just the doctors nowadays do not recommend it anymore. So just breathe and breathe slowly. Slow down your breathing. It also indicates to you that you are in control. Because remember, if you are having a panic or you're anxious, you feel out of control. So you take back control and you control your breathing.
Jerry, we've
Yes.
been talking about all of this. Question came up, and I think it's important.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
long can an episode last, and at what point does it become critical?
So your anxiety attacks are less intense, so they are much, much shorter. A panic attack can last anything from half an hour to 1 hour to even more, and is very exhausting for whoever that is experiencing it. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's no joke. It feels very crippling at that point when they are going through it, and it feels like it never ends because it is very prolonged. So all of us have experienced the wave of panic that comes over us occasionally. That is only maybe a second or two. we have the wave of anxiety before examination, before a presentation. It is not as intense as what these people are feeling. So they do feel it for a prolonged period of time, for a very intensely.
You know, Dr. Jerry, I have to say thank you because before we started speaking to Dr. Jerry on a regular basis, I think a lot of people were using the terms like depression, panic attack, anxiety attack
Very
very
loosely.
Loosely.
You know, now I don't use those words. I mean, I wasn't in the habit of using them, but I feel so much more sensitive to the terms.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. And more people should know the difference, because then you know how to manage it, because the management is slightly different also. So for like the panic attacks, please get it checked out. The anxiety, find out what you're having anxiety over, and that can be managed quite well.
Yeah, actually, the first time I had an anxiety attack was exactly 5 years ago, when I played in my very first golf tournament.
Oh,
So it was a charity golf tournament, right? And I just started playing golf, and I had to tee off in front of so many people. And I tell you, I was having an anxiety attack.
he had his paper bag with him.
Yeah, but after I had 3 Tiger beers,
You were okay.
I was okay. already.
okay. This is not what we don't recommend
That's
drinking
more
alcohol.
nervousness.
We don't.
that's
There
more
is
nervousness.
there is something called medicine or substance abuse induced anxiety. So these substances can induce anxiety also.
So what FD said was right. That was more nervousness than anxiety that Glenn was experiencing, right?
But my heart was beating so
Yes.
fast.
But that's nervousness. though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're anxious, but you're not having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
You're anxious. Yeah.
So someone with anxiety looks like a young girl that I had before. I mean, she's 20 plus years old. And each time she goes on the train, she will feel lightheaded, nauseous, and almost to the point of blacking out.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's not having a panic attack, she's having an anxiety attack. And her anxiety is because of the train itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
my
why
goodness.
she has the anxiety about the train, we don't know. But we did behavioral work with her, and she's doing very well.
But you know, Jerry, surely there must be medication for people who have constant panic attacks and anxiety attacks, right? I mean, there has to be.
There is
Treatment.
there is. And you mentioned about Xanax, so that's a very fast-acting medication. The doctors would recommend it if you're having very severe anxiety.
Right, because I mean, you were
But
talking about
not
panic attacks that
recommended.
last. Of course, I mean, because you were talking about panic attacks that can last an hour, and I can't,
Yeah.
you know, we can't
No,
imagine, you know, the discomfort and you know the terror that the person goes through during that 1 hour.
But Dr. Jerry said that the last thing you give to someone undergoing a panic attack is something to ingest, right?
To swallow.
To swallow, yeah.
Yep. So sometimes they cannot manage it, but if it's a panic attack that is going on for so long, the Xanax is good. It's small. It's really fast
Easy.
acting. It gets
Yeah.
it down very, very
All right,
fast.
Then that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there has to be something.
Yeah.
Gotta be something, yeah.
Poor thing. Okay. Up next.
I'm trying to picture what it would be like to go through. I still vividly remember the anxiety attack, and I pray to God I never go through it again,
No.
because your whole world is just crashing. There's almost a physical pressure on you when your world comes crashing in on you.
But Jerry, why? Is it because people are thinking of is the fear of death a trigger for anxiety attacks and panic attacks?
No. So if you ask FD, he wasn't thinking of dying. He was
No.
thinking of all of you.
It was the show. It was not being able to get back here. It was my
Yeah.
children here.
Yeah.
It was It was
So there's a
amazing.
lot of rumination that goes on in their head whenever there's an anxiety attack. They just go over and over that,
Yeah.
and you kind of break the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no way out. So they feel very cornered. There's no solution that they can think of at that point.
Yeah.
Dr. Jerry, are there any other comorbidities for someone who has panic attacks? Because I have a family member who has depression, clinical depression, and
Yes.
has panic attacks.
Yes, so you can have other disorders that comes together with it. So sometimes it's depression, other times it's OCD, where there's a lot of rumination, a lot of worries also. The eating disorder clients also can have that. Those who have post-traumatic stress disorder, when the flashback hits them and it hits them so randomly, they can go into a panic attack also. If you have a family member that, or someone in the family, relatives that have anxiety or panic disorder, you also might be susceptible to it. If you have a drinking issue, substance abuse, that might also cause it. Yeah. Yeah. So many different disorders can cause, or situations can cause panic attack or anxiety attacks.
Wow, okay.
So it's so important to take care of your
Mental
mind,
health, yeah.
body, and soul.
Soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry, do you have any last words for us, as you always do?
Yes, and today is a fun one. Let's see if you can hear, okay? I'm not sure if you can hear it.
It means no worries for
And
the rest
as
of
we
your
go
life.
and as we go into the long weekend, and as we start the DOSCON Yellow, Hakuna Matata, everybody.
Yay, nicely done, Jerry.
What's Hakuna Matata again?
Means no worries.
No worries.
Hello, did you not watch Lion King?
No, I hate Lion King.
No, that was the best.
Yeah, the original one was the
Now
best.
I know. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Okay, thank you so much, Jerry, for joining
No
us.
worries. I'll
You have-
see all of you.
Hakuna Matata, she
the
said.
week After, yes. Hakuna
Yes, the
that's
week
right.
after.
You have a wonderful day ahead of you and have a great week ahead, Jerry. Take care of yourself.
Yes,
Stay
all
safe.
of you
Take care.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.